Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and the goal of our shows explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us. That gets us thinking, gets us talking, maybe giggling. I think I'll be giggling today, and perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we made the connection. My dear friend Philip Anthony is joining us today. And Philip Anthony also has a show here on AM 950. It is the Downright Upright Show, and it's Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. And we're laughing because I was on his show and he's like, oh, yeah, she's on at 9 p.m. No, 9 a.m. We're not with the 9 a.m.
That
show.
was so funny.
It was so sweet. Philip, thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be here, and I love you, by the way.
Oh, and I love you so. We had a great time on your show, and now I'm delighted to host you on my show. It's kind of fun because we have to like change seats back and forth. We're not used to being in the guest seat, so now it's Philip's chance to be in the guest seat, and our guest seat's a little low, so he's like, "Oh, this is a little lower than I expected."
The hot seat, yeah.
It's a hot seat, yeah. Well, Philip, I know we met about 2 or 3 years ago. I think we also met at the Blue State Ball. I think we might have interacted with Blue State Ball, but definitely at our Pride Festival here in Minneapolis. And we made an instant connection. We both are very outgoing and entertaining and enjoy a good conversation. But Philip has something special, something a little bit more that I enjoy. He cares about people and wants to bring out their comfort level and being able to sometimes talk about tough stuff. You open the door to talking about tough stuff, also in an entertaining way. But then following an entertaining moment, there's a moment of seriousness. There's something that you feel is important that they need to think about. Reeling back before you started doing the show here on AM 950, one of the things I've been interested in is how you decided you wanted to do a show. And part of the reason, I'll give you a reason why I'm interested in that. I'd like to bring more of the series of the Voices show on Connection. I do series. I've done a show on Jewish voices. I've done shows that are about women's voices. Your voice is very important to the LGBTQ community, and
thank you.
I want to know how you decided that you were ready to bring your voice.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So I was a huge fan of AM 950 before I got the show. And AM 950 used to have Blue State Balls.
Yes.
And we would get together, like-minded people, talk about different issues and yada, yada. And I had met multiple people at these events, hosts, producers. I met Brett. I met Chad. I met everybody, the owner. And I was told that, I could be some sort of a contributor.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asked if I would do tabling at Pride. This is before the show even was a concept. Uh-huh. And Laura Hedlund, who is the host of Food Freedom Radio. Hi, Laura, love you. She asked if I would table. And she would call me every year to table. And I loved it. I'm doing something for my community. And the next thing you know, I started talking to Brett and Chad. They were looking for maybe to do a block of shows for LGBTQ folks, mm-hmm. and to uplift, because AM 950, that's the mission of this station. I really feel. I mean, if you look at Native Roots Radio, they talk about Native issues. You talk about there's so many different issues.
Sure.
So I said, sure, I would love to try out a podcast, because I never did radio before. So they gave me the opportunity to do a podcast. So it wasn't on the radio yet. It was just on the under the umbrella of
Sure.
AM 950. And the first couple of shows I would suggest you not listen to.
I know that feeling.
Right?
Yeah.
I listen to them now and I cringe, but so I
remember the first shows that I did. I thought that I had to have everything prepared. I mean, I thought I over prepared to
Mhm.
the point of just like reading to the audience. It's like,
Yeah.
this does not work.
No. Well, I do questions on I have a
Uh-huh.
sheet and I have
Uh-huh.
questions, but I always veer off
Mhm.
because, conversations have to flow naturally and you
Yeah,
don't want to
conversation.
stick to the
Yeah, yeah.
paper, obviously.
But it's good to have something to go back to. I have a grid that I use as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway, to end the story here, I just said, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Even if it's just a podcast, I'd be happy.
Mhm.
And then it was Christmas Day or week before Christmas Day. I know it was Christmas season 2 years ago. And Chad called me into the office. I'm like, uh-oh, they canceled
Oh
the
no,
show. Is that what they
they
did?
don't like my podcast.
And he said, Philip, we're going to put you on Saturdays at 5 p.m. I almost cried.
Oh.
I almost cried. It was I could still cry. It's so moving that people would trust me.
And you felt heard, I bet too.
Oh my goodness. It was
Like
just,
this, that your voice is important.
thank you. And yes, and he felt that way.
Yes.
And so he believed in me. And you know what that feeling is when somebody believes in you? Laurie, it's such a uplifting, amazing feeling.
Believe it. I think there's something else too, that you were needed. You believe in
Perhaps,
you,
yeah.
and there was a sense. There is a mission that our organization, that our AM 950. It's really about connecting. Of course, my Connections Radio Show, but it's a bigger picture of connecting,
Right.
and voices that aren't heard in a way that's important. So often, I think LGBTQ issues are like sound bites, and they're dismissed, or they're outrageous, or it's about the trans, and it doesn't really acknowledge the depth and the breadth.
Yeah, and you're right. And I was saying that on my show with you. The only time you hear anything about our community is to knock us down.
Yep.
A few rungs on the ladder, like the trans community. They always bring up trans, 0.01% of the population, right? And so I'm not going to put up with being knocked down anymore. I was there, got the T-shirt back in the day. We were always knocked down as gay men and gay women back in the day, especially through the AIDS crisis.
Yeah.
So I said, I have to change this. This has to stop. And we're just people that just want to navigate through life just like anybody else. And AM 950 gave me that opportunity, and I'm just so grateful for that.
And as you were creating, I mean, you start off at least with a podcast you could kind of play with.
Mhm.
Did you take your podcast and just continue the same way, or did you make some adaptations? Did you decide that you wanted to do things a little differently?
Yeah, well, at the beginning, I was trying to think of a concept. I was a lot of things were going through my head. It's like mishmash. I'll throw this here, I'll throw that. I used to have a segment back in the podcast days when I would call it the shift.
Huh.
To shift the questioning away from the But then I was starting to get guests that were not involved in politics because we were doing a lot of political issues. I'd have entertainment guests and authors and stuff. And so they weren't comfortable with talking about shifting into politics and current events. So I took that segment off because now I'm on the air and I want to get as many guests that are uplifting in the community.
Is that important? That in your show, at least, there's going to be a time where you will be intentionally looking at how to uplift.
Yeah, it's really, really hard, Laurie, because I'm, especially in this day and age, we're trying to, people are afraid to walk out of their homes today, right? I mean, if they're walking with, people of color,
there's a lot of people that have shut themselves in.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
that don't have a sense of safety.
Yeah. I mean, I walk in white skin. I'm a gay man, but you wouldn't know it until I said, "Well, that's my husband," or if I have a pride flag in front of my house, or what have you, whatever. But there are people that they just feel afraid to. Their journey is different than mine, but I want to be there for them. I want them to know I got your back.
But
you know what I mean?
You do have a gift, though, of finding humor even in places that you would normally.
I try.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we're really facing some of our truths, our deepest truth, there's an edge to like the acknowledgement of that truth that can be in recognizing and being in community with it, that there becomes a shared laughter. It becomes our shared truth. It's an acknowledgement that this is as bad and as terrible as it is. I mean, just how we're coping with the ice in our community right now, and we're having people dress up in various ways, and they're having sleds that they're doing crazy things in Powderhorn Park.
Yeah, that was so
I
cute.
love
Yeah,
that.
I
I
love that.
love that we're taking we are Minnesotans, and we've got a wry sense of humor, but we also have a deep sense of commitment to neighbor.
Yeah,
And
you know, humor is a wonderful way to cut through the stress. You know, there's a guy out there now. He's got a huge following on the socials. He dresses up in these crazy costumes, and he sings to ice, but like these really silly songs that he changes the lyrics and he sings. I mean, it's just hilarious. And hey, you know, if it's going to work, it's going to ease the tension. Go for it, you know. But we have to have each other's back. That's the number one thing, you know.
I think it's been underestimated that we do that,
Hmm.
that Minnesotans do that. You know, it's like one great big, someone has gone off the road in the middle of in a snowbank in the middle of a snowstorm. We all stop and help that person.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
kind of in a snowstorm of horrific attack. It's not our environment, but we're used to being tough in an environment.
Mhm.
And if you're threatening one of ours, we're going to stand up and we're going to say, no, that's not okay.
Yeah, and that's why your show is called Connections Radio. I mean, we, you know, this is the thing. I love Minnesota. I really do. I love living in the Twin Cities. There are so many different ethnic groups. You know, people of from different parts of the world and living here, and they all look out for each other.
Yes.
And I've seen people say, "Those are my Somali neighbors. Leave them alone."
Yes.
They don't care that they're different because we are a country that's a melting pot and we all are different. And if we don't acknowledge that, if we try to homogenize this country and make us all white, straight men, what's going to happen to the rest of the people? You're alienating them, you're pushing them out of society. And that's not going to happen with me in my show because I like to bring up the fact that we are the world, we are the children.
And you've got wonderful music too. Every song that's on yours, you have a little dance that you do to it, which
Yes.
is just adorable.
I because you know I love love and all the songs and I have to thank my producer Patrick for that too. I mean I tell him, you know what, pick a song as long as it's about love, let's do it. You know, and people love it because they think I have seen people do the dance.
With a heart.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother, everybody.
Yes.
Get
Yes.
together, try to love one another right now.
Yes.
So, and they all do that. And it's great. I mean, if it makes you happy, it's fun and it has a great message. Why not? You know?
Well, and it helps us feel less overwhelmed. You know,
Yeah.
when we can laugh
Yes.
and when we can sing. I've never I've never had anyone be able to stay angry when they're singing.
Yeah.
So,
Or tell it a joke.
yeah.
Yes.
And those are ways that we're there for each other as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It's
and
amazing how you know, you look at the you know, the protests, for example, the peaceful, and I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, they are peaceful.
Yeah.
I've seen them; they're peaceful, and there's every color of the rainbow there. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I always say on my show that Americans in general, we're a mosaic. We're like a quilt with different colors, except the other side wants us to be a white sheet.
or they wear it at least.
Over their head, yes. But I mean the color, it's just
Yes.
white.
Yes.
We're not that way. We are a mosaic. We are a quilt. You know, you ever quilt? You ever see
Or we're a gumbo. I mean, I love the
gumbo?
we're so many different things
Yes,
that,
we
that
are.
come together and
We are.
and create the tapestry.
Yeah, and that's what makes America so different. You know,
It has been.
yeah,
And
and when they're trying to reel that in, and that's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
I think we need to get through a tough period.
Hmm.
I think we have the midterms coming up that give a lot of us hope.
If we have them, yes.
That was the caveat that I was going to mention. I mean, that gives us hope.
We're laughing. You see this about you and I?
Yeah.
We're trying to, it's a sad.
It's very dark humor.
Yeah, it's dark humor. Yes.
But it's also a realization. Humor can tell the truth.
Sure.
And in telling the truth and the harsh truth that we don't like to always talk about, the recognition, makes us laugh.
Yeah. But we have Secretary of State Steve Simon, who is running the election. He's our Secretary of State here in Minnesota. Yes. He will make sure that they don't purge those rolls, those voter rolls. He's going to make sure of that. There are some states that's not going to happen because they're in cahoots with who. And so that's my fear. But, guys, we got to get back to a democracy. We have to get back to trusting in our elections. I mean, he said in 2020 that the election was rigged, but he didn't explain. Like, what happened?
The reason he said that is that he just never wanted to
lose.
And
yes.
Any way that, he's looking at as being a potential loser is something that he wants to make sure is not accepted.
Mm-hmm. He can't bear losing. No. Mm-mm.
But it's tough. It's tough. How do communities band together, continue to have helping neighbor? And what my fear is that we have a lot of energy right now. We've got a lot of adrenaline. There's the anxiety, but we have to prepare for the long haul. I mean, even if we can get back the Congress and the Senate in the midterms, we still have 2 more years of a difficult presidency.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm looking at what's 3 years of living like this.
Yeah, and Congress is complicit. I mean, there's supposed to be a check and a balance on the president. You know what I'm saying? And it's not happening. I mean, he wants to take over Greenland now, for example. I mean, what are you kidding me? That is a NATO country.
Yeah.
If we do that, then all of Europe that belongs to NATO we will be dropped from NATO, and there'll be a war. And I thought he wanted to win the Nobel Peace Prize he got from another person because he couldn't win it on his own. I could go on and on and on.
No, it's interesting. I think he wrote to the head of Norway and basically said, because I didn't get the Peace Prize,
I'm sorry
because you guys didn't give me the Peace Prize, I feel like I'm open to do anything I want now. And if I want Greenland, I will take Greenland. And it's like, what kind of logic? And for one thing, Norway has nothing to do with who makes the decision of who gets the Peace Prize. It's run by a total different institution. Mm-hmm. But somehow he's holding Norway accountable for him not getting, recognition for all the wonderful work he's done in peace. I'm having a hard time thinking what he's done in the realm of peace that would allow him to think that he should. But I think it's just a matter of prizes.
Yeah.
And being important and being powerful.
Winning.
And having a big country. I mean, it's real estate. I mean, this whole real estate mentality is that I am going to be the president that brings in more land to our states. I mean,
it's a good point. Yeah.
Threatening Canada, threatening Mexico. I guess he's now the president of Venezuela. It's
wow.
all jumbled.
Yeah.
And how do you reel it back? And what can it look like? Now, my big hope in looking at being uplifting, trying to look at what we could be, maybe it is the build back better mentality that we need to have. And that with all of these things being stress tested and broken, we're going to need to recreate what we want. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think part of it is looking at not just our civil rights, but our human rights. And if we've all committed to human rights at an international level, what can that be? How do we hold each other accountable at a higher level?
Yeah.
And there's more to talk about.
Really?
There's more to talk about with Philip Anthony, who's joining us today. Thank you so much, Philip, for being here. We've got 2 more segments where we get to chat.
Oh, I can't wait.
And learn about your background and where you're going with your show and what's up.
What's up?
What's up? We'll be right back. Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And today we are blessed to have Philip Anthony, who's also has a show here on AM 950 radio. His is the Downright Upright Show with Philip Anthony. Thank you, Philip, for being here.
You're welcome. It's so great to be here.
It's your show. We were talking about how our show's very similar in many ways.
Oh, yeah.
It's interviews, it's commentary, it's entertainment, it's ideas that mean something, and how we explore the world and discovering our own voice and creating an opportunity for other voices to join us in powerful ways. So when you decided that you would do the show, in our last segment, you shared about how Chad, the owner here, called you in and said, yeah, we want you to do the show on Saturday at 5:00. You must have had some ideas about what you thought the show was going to be like and what you thought in doing shows that you would be doing. Is it what you expected, or have you had some surprises along the way?
Yeah, surprises. Yes, definitely. I originally thought that I could have LGBTQ plus issues walk hand in hand with progressive issues, and they do. And I wanted to just zero in on that. And as time went along and the show got, I guess, I don't want to say more popular. I don't know if it's how popular it is, but
it's popular. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh, well, thanks. It got more of a audience, I want to say, okay? Then I started expanding my people started wanting to come on, because before I was telling you how hard it was to get people to do the show. Please come on.
I've got a nice little radio show.
You deliver for Cub Foods or whatever, and
be on my show.
You could be on my show.
We can talk about produce.
Yeah,
sure.
We'll talk about produce. But then it started happening where people were contacting me to do the show, and then, like, for example, I'll just throw something out there to you. When I was a young kid, and I mean a teenager, late teens, I was into disco music a lot. I loved Donna Summer. Bee Gees, all that. And this one particular singer who was much more famous, and she had a big hit nationwide, but it was much more popular in New York. Her name was France Jolie, right?
Okay.
And she had a lot of hits in New York, and she's very big in the gay community, especially. And I just reached out to her because I said, you know what? I really love your music and yada, yada, yada. I have a radio show, and it would be a dream come true if you would do my show. Now, I didn't expect her to respond and say,
It's like putting it in a bottle, throwing it in the ocean.
Yeah. I just threw it out there. She, her handlers contacted me.
Oh my gosh.
And said, France would love to do your. Oh yeah, I almost cried. I was on the air, almost in tears. I'm talking to somebody who I
was
had
your hero,
a poster of in my room at the time, and and she talked about how she always will be with the LGBTQ community. When she performs, 90% of the audience is either gay, LGBTQ, or ally. And during the AIDS crisis, she was there. Things like these kind of things. I would have never been able to have met her if I didn't have this show.
And you never would have expected going into it that you would have access to have someone want to be on your show like that.
Isn't that amazing?
It is, but it's also affirming. It's affirming that she sensed your authenticity when you reached out and said, "I listened to you."
And she wanted to support the community so bad, and she kept saying that on the interview. And it was I was almost in tears in that interview, I have to say. So there are a lot of people, not only in the entertainment industry, but I had just regular people who are navigating, having children that are trans. I just had a show. Oh my God, I was almost in tears in that show because of how much this mother loves her son, trans boy, 16-year-old kid, came here from Indiana to just to live a normal life and just to be free and not be, abused. things like that. You know what I'm saying, Laurie?
Yes,
Laurie,
yes.
it's so amazing, and this show gives me that platform, and it's incredible. And your show with connecting
Yeah.
people together and people that want to vent and talk about what's worrying them or what they're happy about, even.
Or an
You know?
idea they have, or the joy that they have, or a book
Yeah.
that they've written. Yeah. There, we used to have a lot more conversations, right?
Right.
When growing up, you and I are about the same age, where, there was conversations you had at dinner. There was conversations you had with friends.
Uh-huh.
We're so into our
I think I'm
Facebooks and
older
social.
than you.
Well, all right, we're around the same age.
Around the same
We're
age,
around
yeah.
the same age. But we're not having those conversations.
Mm-mm.
And I was hungry for conversations
Isn't that
like that.
Isn't that so? I mean, I think, sitting down, somebody had told me once, you can get two people who have a diametrically opposite opinion about something and have them sit down and talk to each other. And sometimes you can meet in the middle.
Yes.
Something will happen, some magical, ethereal,
Moment.
moment.
Yes.
And then you go, wow, we're agreeing, and I think
Being able to be influenced by each other,
Yeah, yeah.
allowing ourselves to not just label and push back, but to really find where is that, Venn diagram intersection where we can
Yes,
both go,
I
yes,
love that.
we agree.
That's a good that's
where
a good
is
way
it?
to put it. Yeah.
I had a guest on one time, about a year ago, and things, Trump had just been put into office, and we didn't know what was going to be happening. And
Mhm.
and I asked her, what do we need to do to bring people together? Because we're living in like two different worlds right now.
Mhm.
She took a moment. She goes, what we really need is we need to sit down and we have to eat really good food together and listen to excellent music.
Mhm.
And if we could do that with people that we may not be agreeing with and enjoy, breaking bread, sharing a meal, and listening to good music, I think we'd start hearing each other differently.
Yeah, I agree. But I do draw a line, though.
Mhm.
I mean, bigotry. I mean,
Oh.
if you're supporting who because you're a bigot or you think that some people should have less rights or yada yada, you lost me now. If you want to sit down and say, okay, maybe we should have the public option instead of universal health, things like that, or higher taxes, lower tax, things like that.
Policy.
Yeah, policy.
Yep.
When it comes to policy, that's fine. But when you're going to bring me down to, a few rungs on the ladder because you want to feel superior to me, I lose you, and you lost me. So
I think if
yeah.
you ever go into a conversation where you don't feel like you're equal, that the conversation is about an us and them,
Yeah.
or somehow there's a game being played where you win-lose in the conversation. I see that a lot on Facebook, the whole win-lose style. And that's not going to bring people together. But you're right. You don't have to open yourself up to someone that doesn't respect you,
Hmm.
doesn't accept that we both have the equal rights to express our opinions. And if that's not something of interest, then we have to find folks that do.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, there's a lot of folks out there that don't want to just hate on each other.
No.
I think we're getting tired of it. I think I'm getting tired of the anxiety that comes with the hate speech, with the anxiety that comes with the us and them. I mean, I
It's
wish
exhausting, isn't it?
It is exhausting. I mean, I wish that more people came to realize that this is not a good place that we're in, and that our democracy is at stake, and that Minnesota's showing the way of how we care about each other and how we respect each other, and now neighbor helping neighbor is the way to go. And I hope that can be contagious.
Yeah, but I think the algorithms on socials, for example,
Yep.
they gear you
Yes.
to listening to. I have to say fake news. I mean,
Yeah.
there are people that actually do believe that the election of, for example, I'm using that as an example because
Yep.
it's the most egregious
Yep.
thing for me, that the election was stolen. But there's no facts. There's no evidence. There's nothing. Nobody has have come forward and said, "See, they purged the rolls here," or they did something. I mean, I can't even imagine what they could possibly do on a nationwide basis to steal that many votes. So
even, I mean,
yeah,
it's the elephant in the room, as we said in our last show, with Renee Good.
mm-hmm.
The first thing was that, she's a crazy liberal.
She's a terrorist.
She's a terrorist, and she got what she deserved. I mean, whoa.
Yeah. Look at the video again.
And let's say that there's disagreement. There's a human life.
Yeah.
Where did our respect for the dignity of life go?
Yeah.
Where did the absolute horror of a mother being killed?
Yeah, I'm going to say something controversial right now, but I merely mean it. When Charlie Kirk was murdered, I said on my show that was disgusting. And he has said terrible things about Black people, gay people, the community, but he's a human being and he has freedom of speech.
And the respect for the dignity of life, if nothing
else.
Yes.
So the dignity of life. Now, he has children that don't have a father. I grew up without a father, and I feel I was robbed. My life was robbed. So I understand that, So I feel that if you want to protest an idea or an issue, you have every right in what I remember as the United States of America to go out in the street peacefully and speak your mind. No problem. But the problem I have is that they're speaking their mind and they're getting hurt and injured and sometimes killed. And it has to stop.
And when does speaking your mind become threats?
Yeah.
So, when Nazis marched in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a little uncomfortable. I mean, okay, they have the right to do that.
Yeah.
But,
and you have the right to go out and protest against them. Mm-hmm. Counter protest is the term, I guess. Yeah.
But the next level up, a woman got killed there where a car rammed into her from another protester. At what point do we all have the strength and the abilities and the desire and the need and the devotion to democracy to speak our mind, to have a voice?
Correct.
Our vote is our voice. Our voice is, with our opinions need to be out there. Mm-hmm. How do we cope with the overwhelm? How do we cope with the threat of what that could mean? How do we cope with a feeling that our country and our world is slip sliding away, and what we have thought is terra firma underneath us is not? Mm-hmm. And especially with folks that have characterized liberals as being, almost demonic. What do you do with that?
You can't do anything with that because they're labeling you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you describe what we're doing that's demonic, that'd be better. But just calling us that name, because willy-nilly, that's not going to get us anywhere. I mean, me as a liberal, I don't like to use that. I use progressive now because I work for the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
Yes.
So I use that word. There you go. But as a progressive, I feel that the superpower that we have is that we are empathetic. We look at other people that are not like us,
and we find
and we find connection.
Yeah,
that's why I'm on Connections Radio.
Oh, by the way,
right now,
yes.
Because I love what you do. I think what you're doing is incredible, connecting people that want a voice, and I think that's what radio should be. Yeah. We should have a voice to say whatever you want to say, as long as it's not bigoted, you're hurting other people in any way. Because the minute you start hurting people or demonizing, you lose me. Right. So, and I think you and I are doing the do, as they say. So
you were surprised, getting back to that question way back.
Yeah, right. What happened to that?
You were surprised that you had access to
people,
ask people, and that people were coming to you.
Yes.
Those were the kind of like, who would have thought that, my childhood hero was going to be on my show, and I could talk to her, and feel her support. I mean, that was magical for you. I could see in your eyes.
Oh my God.
A magical moment.
And I think Patrick was producing the show. I had to collect myself before I even started because I was looking at it was StreamYarding,
Sure.
what's this kind of like Zoom, for the
it's
people
a
out there.
broadcast version of
Yeah,
Zoom. Yeah.
it's a podcast version of Zoom. And she's telling me, I love what your message is. I've watched your show, and this is a person who I idolized as a kid, It's incredible. And then I've had other people, that have internationally famous authors, they have their own talk shows and, yada, yada down the road. And I'm talking to them and they're acknowledging that I'm doing the do. I keep saying doing the do. That's my New York expression.
I love it.
Yeah. So I love the show. And I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to do it. I'm so grateful.
I know with my show, I've gone through kind of different time periods where I focused a little differently. Like there was a period where I was doing a lot of nonprofits, loved having lots of different nonprofits, and then went through a period where lots of arts, and then it started to have more of an ebb and flow and combined with lots of different types of shows. I'm feeling it now as I'm looking to continue with Connections that I'm going to have more time to be able to devote to it. Like you, I had another job before at the same time doing my radio show. I actually left my job so that I could do more with Connections radio show. I wanted to spend more time. It was always something that was really important to me, but we had to balance it with lots of other things and the reality of living. And what I'm looking to do in the future is have more voices and be supported in having a platform, a place to come and share their voice and be able to develop and determine what is their ideas, what voice do they want to share. As you're looking to develop your show to the next level, do you have some ideas? We can start and then finish up in the next segment, but just to get us started on that conversation, do you have some ideas of things that you want to be doing?
Well, I have to go back to the elephant in the room again. I mean, people are feeling down. I want to uplift any way I can. I get people that want to be on the show and want to talk about that issue. So in the future, I have various guests who are going to address that concern. But as far as the concept of the show, I still want to walk. I want to walk the LGBTQ community along with the progressive community, hand in hand down the street.
And discover what that could look like.
And discover what that'll look like, because I think they do walk hand in hand with each other, and anybody that feels that another community is not being represented and being treated fairly, like example is the LGBTQ plus community. I mean, right now, marriage equality, the Supreme Court didn't want to take up the issue, thankfully, but that doesn't mean it's off the table, because look what happened with Roe versus Wade. Sure. With the Dobbs decision. They completely overturned double precedent that, there was 2 courts previously said that it's etched in stone that women have the right to choose. Now it's over. So I never get comfortable with the Supreme Court that we have today. So things like that. But I want guests that are going to uplift. And like you and I have mentioned before, humor.
Yes.
Let's get some funny people on. Let's get some people that'll make us laugh and try to get us navigate through this, rough time. So
laugh until we cry, and then after we cry, we are clear-eyed.
Yes.
About what we need to do next.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a trajectory.
And I want the audience to know this woman I'm sitting across from is just as nice in person as she is on the radio. She comes in with cookies sometimes and brings people things. I mean, you are just so incredible. You have a bright light. That's why I love you so much.
Well, Philip, I'm so honored that you have joined the show today.
Oh.
You bring a bright light as well, and you bring the same joy that you bring to your show, to the Connections radio show. And it's nice to be able to reach out and just be there for each other. And
I'm glad I joined the Mutual Admiration Society. I really am.
And with that, we'll be back in just a short few minutes. We have amazing supporters that we want to acknowledge with our commercials, and they keep us going. They keep the lights on. So we appreciate them here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host. And if you're watching on Facebook, you'll see that my dear guest, Philip Anthony, who dances on his show, has started to move to my music on my show.
By the way, your bumper music is amazing. Where do you get that from?
Yeah, it's a long story on that one. But yeah.
It's a long story.
I kind of like the bluesy sound.
It's very bluesy.
It's
Yeah.
a very bluesy. It just works for me in terms of just kind of a little rough edge and a little, it's being at a nice blues bar.
The harmonica is
at 9
incredible.
o'clock
I love it.
Saturday morning. But yeah, I just like it. I like the style.
Yeah, me too.
I've thought about some other songs, some other bumper songs. Like there's, I think the Rolling Stones have a song called Connections. It's like,
Oh wow.
and it,
Yeah.
but it's like really in your face. Connections. It's like,
Yeah. Wow.
I kind of like it more easing in.
You're
So
more
it's like
bluesy,
a little-
jazzy.
I like bluesy on a Saturday morning. It's like,
Yeah.
are you up yet? It's 9 o'clock.
I
No,
like
it's
the old
early.
'60s flower children's songs.
Yes,
I
you
always,
do, and they're wonderful.
yeah, I do. I love that message.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
If you're just joining us as we're in the middle of a conversation,
Which-
I will
Which is
introduce
part of our
Yes,
connection.
It
Yeah.
is. I will introduce Philip Anthony. He does a show called the Downright Upright Show with Philip Anthony, and that takes place from 5 to 6 p.m. on Saturday. So you're listening to me on 9 a.m. Hang out for the cocktail hour with our friend Philip Anthony, because it's a great cocktail hour show to listen to.
You must be so much fun to have a cocktail with.
I am. I
We
will
should do that one day.
Let's do that. Let's do
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that. We'll go to a good bar and
Happy hour.
a good happy hour toast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, I kind of like having my show. I say it's like a coffee, having coffee and you're listening in. It can also be like at a happy hour and people are listening into conversation. I want a kind of a lively conversation, and Philip, you've more than stepped to the plate with that role, and I appreciate
Thank you so much.
all that you do with that. So we were talking in our last segment a little bit about how you reach and support the LGBTQ community. And that's really important to you, is to have a place where there is good information. There's a time to laugh, maybe a time to cry, a time to be there for each other, and to have programming that supports that community and allies. I am a devoted listener as well. I am an
Love the
ally.
allies.
Exactly. And as we are facing some of the challenges in the years to come, and we need to look at this as a long haul, in developing those relationships, in developing those allies, in developing the shows, I'm assuming that you really welcome folks to contact you if they have something important that they want to share.
Yeah, well, I have a show email that's just for listeners. It's Downright Upright Show at gmail.com. And I get my response. If you have show ideas, I get people, full disclosure, I have the first Saturday of every month a show called The Co-Host Show. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have two co-hosts who I'd be remiss if I didn't bring them up. They are I love them so much. Hello, guys. I have Austin and Matt. I met them back when I had the podcast, and they were so amazing. We talk about everything on that show, usually current events. And it's so uplifting, and they're so incredibly knowledgeable about. So I have Austin usually sits here, and she's a Minnesota politics guru,
Good for her.
And Matt, who sits in this chair usually, when I'm sitting there, he.
And for those of you that are not watching us,
I know.
just know that there's like 3 chairs he's pointed out in our cute little studio.
Yeah, I'm thinking everybody's watching.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, and Matt's a chair, and Matt is a DEI expert. He's an educator and knows all about it. And he's so fascinating. So I would suggest, if you're not going to watch any other weeks of my show, watch the first Saturday of every month on the
Good to know.
co-host show. Yeah, it's on at 5 p.m. first Saturday of the month.
How did that start?
Okay, so somebody gave me the idea because at the beginning, I think I'm going over this again, that I had so much trouble trying to find guests at the beginning. I was so scared. I said, well, maybe I'll go through a week without. And there were some weeks I didn't have a guest and I'd have to rant. And so,
It's the monologue.
that's Matt McNeil's big thing. He's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do that like nobody's business. I am like an amateur at that.
I only had to do it once when a guest didn't show.
Isn't that hard, though?
It was very hard. Thank God for Patrick. Patrick, I throw him like, talk to me, Patrick, because you're my guest. And Patrick, for those who don't know, is our producer.
He's amazing.
He's running the technology of the show. But for that show, he became my guest.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Patrick?
So I had no guest. And I said to myself, this is going to be tough if I can't get guests when I need them. This was at the beginning. So I just, someone had brought it. Why don't you have a co-host, like two co-hosts, like The View, that show with all the, Whoopi Goldberg and all those. And they talk about current events. Uh-huh. So I said, I have to find people, though, that would want to do it with me every month. And I found the two angels that, I couldn't do it without them. So thank you guys out there, Austin and Matt. And, They just bring so much to the show. They bring joy. They bring affirmation. I can't describe them any better than they're just lovely people.
We have about 3 minutes left of the show. And when I did your show,
yes,
this is like a trade that we've been doing.
And we're going to do it again.
Yeah, okay,
this is a great banter here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the last 3 minutes, she said, if there's something that you haven't had a chance to bring up, if there's something that is like free form of what you want to make sure the audience knows about you and your show and how you connect with our audience, what would you like to share with them?
Yeah. So I come from a different perspective, Laurie, because I was not born in Minnesota. I'm from New York City. I also had a very tough childhood. And I had to navigate through abuse. And I lost my dad to a horrible situation when I was 4. So I grew up without a dad. And then my mom married an abuser, my stepfather, and that was bad. So I learned through all that adversity that people need a pick-me-up. Yeah. I didn't have the pick-me-up. And being that I'm like my mom, God rest in peace, she taught me, Philip, when somebody brings you down, you lift them up. Don't be, if somebody punches you, you tell them why you do, be understanding of maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe somebody's, I don't agree with hitting anybody, but there's something going on there when the kid is reacting in that respect. Mm-hmm. And then I made friends with some of those bullies later on in life who realized that what they were doing was wrong. And but if I would have lashed out back, it would have been a fight. And then, but
that heart comes through your show of the uplift.
Yeah, but the empathy. I mean, I have a lot of empathy. I understand when I see people suffering and I see people crying in the streets, like with this thing with Renee Good. I feel them. I feel what's going on, and again, you and I are trying to connect to those people. Why we have our shows. Why people tune in. They don't tune in just to waste time. They're tuning in because they want to be heard. And they want you to speak for them, I guess. Yeah.
And at times, if it's not about uplifting through humor, there's uplifting because they sense we care and that we love them. Yeah, I do love our audience.
Oh my God, I love mine. I mean, they, when they write or they see me at Pride and they tell me, like, Philip, I love your show. You're so amazing, and you make me laugh, or you make me. Yeah, great. Thank you, guys.
Love you all. Thank you for tuning in today and getting to know another wonderful host of the show. We love having Philip Anthony here, and we hope that you'll, from 5 to 6 p.m., listen to the Downright Upright Show with Philip Anthony. Yay, Philip.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.